The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host and or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of the host and or Paranormal Buzz Radio and or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is prohibited. Paranormal Buzz Radio will not be held responsible for you holding your knees, crying, and rocking in a corner in a puddle of your own urine, or being beheaded by a group of children in the cornfield. In fact, if you come across a group of children in a cornfield, we promise to make fun of you as you run away screaming in terror. Listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to RAP Paranormal and Friends with your hosts,
Kim Purvis
and Allison Robinson. Make sure to check us out on our Facebook pages, RAP Paranormal and Friends and RAP Paranormal Busters, for up-to-date show information and events. Hey everyone, welcome to another night of RAP Paranormal and Friends. We have a couple special guests for you tonight from Dockside Media. Going to talk about a documentary called Conscious Contact, Full Disclosures. So please welcome Chris Ruppert and Transue to the show. Yes, yeah, absolutely, anytime. Yes, I'm super excited about this. I just watched it the other day, and it was very awesome. I really enjoyed it very much. So I kind of want to know, how did you guys get into making these documentaries?
Hang on a sec. Oh, okay. Try it again. For some reason, they said your sound went out, so I just want to make sure. Let's see. I think
it's our end.
Yeah, like I said, I've been trying to.
Let's try that one more time.
Yeah, sure. So check 1, 2. Do we have Tyler with Dockside Media here?
Let's see. I'm asking them right now if they can hear you.
Oh, we're running live?
Yeah, yep. We are live. Yes.
Okay, good. That's the way we like it. So, dude, we roll with the punches. I'll say it as many times as you need me to, because it'll brand it in to the masses' heads.
That's right.
So let us know if they got it.
Let's see here. I'm trying to, let's see.
Yay!
Yes.
No,
people.
This is perfect.
It's yeah.
Oh, okay, now let's try that again. Okay. All right.
Roll
with it.
So I will roll with this. So Chris, thanks for the lob.
That's what I do.
The beginnings of Dockside Media, right? And that's the dopest documentary production company this side of the Milky Way. Dig it, dug it, dag nabbit, let's go. And as Chris said, if it cut out, I'll fill you in. You know, it was kind of like a meteoric rise, right? We kind of came out of nowhere. Chris and I are both independent filmmakers. We've been doing this for 5 or 6 years on our own, just doing commercials for, different companies, short narrative films, music videos, just a bunch of stuff. I will stop. Anybody out there, do we have my audio? Because I'll go for like 20 minutes and then somebody says, bro, we didn't hear anything you said.
That's a good point, Tyler.
And then I'll do it again. I don't care. I'll do as many times as you need to.
I would stop you and be like, hold up.
So we're still.
There's a little bit of a lag between the chat.
Before these people. Yep.
Matt,
so,
you have audio. I'm waiting.
Okay.
Woo! All right, I'm gonna stay fired up the rest of this interview.
Stay fired up.
And I
that's
won't.
What we like. We like a lot of energy.
I won't stop. And that's what Dockside Media is about. We're all about passion. Chris and I, independent filmmakers. In August, the very beginning, he's like, "Hey Tyler, do you want to start shooting documentaries?" And I don't know, how about specifically like paranormal documentaries? Chris is really into horror and sci-fi, both watching those types of films and then crafting that into his short film work. And he's working on a feature film right now, Transue, that he's going to start shooting here. But so he was like, thought it would be interesting. And me, I'm just curious by nature and have been my entire life and just very open-minded. So I was like, yeah, dude, this sounds like a great idea. And we were going to film this local urban legend called the Seven Gates of Hell. I'm in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Chris had grown up in Lancaster as well. And then across the river in Pelham, PA, which is right by York, Pennsylvania, there's this local legend that if you go through these seven gates after midnight, when you go through the seventh gate, you're instantly transported to hell. I'm like, oh, dude, it's a legend. It's been around for a while. It has to do with like an insane asylum, people being perhaps murdered or just crazy cool stuff. So we were going to do that. And then I happened to stumble upon Anjali's story on Reddit. She's one of the people in the film. And I saw that she's a former Department of Defense intelligence officer and that she was going to give this public press conference in front of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., August 17th. I'm like, Chris, I mean, this takes some guts, right? To go do this public press conference and talk about her having contact with extraterrestrials in a mountain base in the Mojave Desert. I'm like, bro, yeah, I feel like I need to go film that and we will figure out what to do and where to go from there. And so it's crazy. Like you check the timestamps, August 16th, we started Dockside Media because I was like, bro, I need to take pictures, start branding while I'm down there filming on August 17th. And then from there, film that public press conference. And it was like Conscious Contact, full disclosure, just kind of was born, man, from the ethers, destiny, fate, whatever you want to call it. It just kind of came to fruition where I went and interviewed Sue Walker after that, who's like a clairvoyant, medical intuitive telepath. She led me to Clifford Mahooty, the Zuni Pueblo elder, with like insane knowledge from elders passed down thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And then, Reverend John Polkin. So it was just this really cool thing where Chris and I did not necessarily script this out. Man, it was a lot of like heart and just like following our hearts, man. And it was really, really neat. I think what came to be. And it's a cool story also that Chris and I, Dockside Media, it's, I think, a very unique situation where I'm going out, getting all these interviews, meeting all these people. And then Chris on the back end, like I'm dumping all the footage and he's editing it into these beautiful feature films, which is an art. And it's like, it reminds me of like Michelangelo and that like the sculptor, It's like, oh dude, like that sculpture was always there in that marble, right? Chris just like chips away the rough edges, man, and like pieces it all together. And it was amazing how all these different people and experiencers had very similar words and like experiences and their journeys and their contact with these beings. It was really cool to watch Chris piece together.
Right, yeah, because everybody that you kind of talked to seemed to have a little bit different take on it. Now, Sue Walker, she said that. Now, what did she say? Hers was more telepathic.
Yeah. Sue has a telepathic connection with the Ponti species. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And they had sent her like an artist to help her draw these of what she was seeing, which I thought was pretty cool. Whereas Angelique, didn't she talk about more of hers was more like a conscience?
She talks about like a download idea.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they're also like, they're very similar concepts if you think about them, just like explained differently, explained from their own perspectives. Mm-hmm. But I love the idea of the download or telepathy because like I'm more skeptic than Tyler is. Mm-hmm. And for me, like, even though that sounds more out there on the surface, sounds more woo, but if you think about it rationally, like if there is an alien species with the technology to traverse great distances and time, they're most likely, like 1,000 years ahead of us in technology. And to me, the idea of communication is kind of primitive because it's us trying to take these ideas in our head and communicate them to somebody with these sounds. Mm-hmm. But if we had the ability to just transplant our ideas, our complete thoughts into somebody else, that to me seems like the best way to communicate. And the way that these people explain it is how these aliens and whatever out there are communicating with them. So I think that's a really neat idea and interesting concept.
It is. Now, wasn't she going to put together like a team or something to go out to the desert?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Has that happened? Do you know?
I don't believe it materialized, so this Conscious Contact, full disclosure, let's see, she spoke in August 17th of 2021.
Right.
We had this documentary, Conscious Contact, full disclosure, completed by beginning or middle of November. Mm-hmm. And then it took us just a number of months to get it picked up for distribution, which was just a cool story in itself where, I was like, Chris, we really need 1091 Pictures to pick it up. They had picked up other popular documentaries of this sort, like The Phenomenon and stuff. Mm-hmm. It had gotten on Netflix, etc. And it was just, man, what a wild ride looking back. Kind of manifesting that to happen and then picking it up. And now it's on Amazon and Google Play and Microsoft and PlayStation and Vudu and Apple TV and iTunes and all that stuff. This is just, Chris, I lost my train of thought.
Well, it's been I hear what you're saying. It's been a long, for you guys, you just watched it, but we're currently on editing our fourth documentary right now. So I have been living with these other films and these other people's stories and other concepts for a long time since this one. So I think in Conscious Contact, the last slide about Anjali has as of November specific date, 2021, they haven't made the journey yet to the mines or But that was literally the day we finished the documentary because we were
right.
How long are we going to wait? This would be really interesting to add to the story, but we can't hold on to this forever. So from that, there was so much time that passed in between now and its release. And you know how the world works now. 3 weeks ago, we were all worried about Will Smith slapping people. Then it was Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. The world moves so fast now. Right. So she has continued her journey in a lot of ways. I know she was just at a UFO conference speaking about things. And I believe she's still trying to plan on doing some sort of something out there. But I think there was a bit of a falling out with her and Wayne. And the internet does what the internet does when people put their messages out. They attacked her in a lot of ways. Some people supported her. And we're not here to give any specific narrative of what we believe or anything. We just kind of wanted to share their stories. Right. But I loved Anjali's passion and a lot of things she speaks about with the spirituality aspect that she has, I think was really powerful. So I'm hoping there is more to develop with her story. She's a really, really interesting individual with, some really interesting experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Great save, Chris. Great save. Yeah.
I got you, buddy.
I got you. I'm supposed to answer if Anjali went to the mountain in the Mojave Desert.
Dude, did you ever see Titanic?
He's on it. That's what I'm saying.
I'm Jack. I'm dead. I'm in the water. But you, I saved you. Okay.
Yin and yang, dude. This is how we get by.
Tyler,
man.
I just have to say, just paint me like one of those French girls. Okay, that's what I have to say.
Dude, I'm doing my darndest. I might get in contact with Sue in the Ponte and see if I can get me some art lessons like her. And I'll make you a darn good one.
Guys, you check out her artwork. Like, it's very impressive, right?
It is.
I
It
just
is.
seen the clips in the documentary, and they were very cool. I haven't looked online or anything like that. I'm assuming she probably has social media.
She is. Yeah, her Twitter. You need to follow her Twitter because she has that direct connection with the Ponte, so she puts their message out there. But she also shares her artwork and her own thoughts and stuff. Mm-hmm. I think it's Sandia.
Wisdom at Sandia Wisdom.
Sandia Wisdom at Sandia Wisdom. So
okay, I'm gonna write this down.
Yeah,
I was trying to look it up and I couldn't.
But yeah, I mean, so let me double back real quick. Yeah, I know it went so as far as they did a whole poll and everything to see who would go along on the expedition, and then as Chris said, man, there was just the interwebs being the interwebs and just a lot of negativity, maybe some doxing and stuff and just odd, weird things where I think it was just kind of unsafe or whatever. So to Anjali's credit, she is still engaging on Twitter, was just as Chris said at this conference. And, I'm hopeful that there will be more information from her. But dude, I dig Sue Walker's artwork. It's a really crazy thing because, from like making this documentary and just being open-minded, it's interesting how all the pieces fell into place. Like Chris and I didn't really plan this. It felt like some guiding force. And, to somebody really religious, they would most likely be like, this is divine intervention, right? Just somebody that believes in extraterrestrials or interdimensional beings. I could account it to that, or destiny or fate, whatever you really prescribe to. Man, it was amazing how the narration, the words written for the narration, which just kind of came to me. I'd be driving or something and I'd dictate it in my phone, send it to Chris, right? Yeah. And then we just log all those. And at times, we didn't even have stuff necessarily filmed. It was just narration was logged, and as stuff gets pieced together, narration fits. So it was amazing, so who's to say, I just think it's certainly possible that Sue, is getting some sort of inspiration, thought, words, communication. I think giving direction on how to become a better artist, because her artwork is certainly improved, right? Having not done anything for years and years and years and years, and then starting, I forget now what it was, but if it was 5-6 years ago, and it's just wow, that's really incredible. There's something to it,
right? I believe so.
I like the very specific and a consistent image of the Ponte. If you haven't seen her art, but there's a lot of it's what I mean. It's all very similar. It's definitely something she's seen. So that's what I think is really cool. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And now, does she only have connection with them or any other beings? I mean, I know there's others out there, but is she primarily with the Ponte? Is that
Allison? You were just set them up, knock them out of the park all night long. Funny you should say that. We have another documentary, Secrets of the Sasquatch, which drops July 5th.
Yes.
And we sent you that. Sue Walker happens to be in that one as well.
Oh, man, nice.
And so you might be able to infer that, right, she has had telepathic communication with other species or interdimensional beings, Sasquatch, that kind of stuff. So, yes.
Very cool.
I believe she has.
Awesome. All right. That's good to know. I can't wait. I haven't watched that one yet, but I'm going to hopefully this weekend. So
that's what's up. And for all the viewers out there, July 5th, that's coming to Amazon, iTunes, Apple TV, Google Play, PlayStation, Microsoft, and Vudu. July 5th. Awesome. So, when you're like kind of hung up nursing that hangover, maybe from July 4th or whatever, you throw on Secrets of the Sasquatch.
There you go.
Maybe, have a little hair of the dog that bit you or whatever else floats your boat. And you're like, oh, God bless America, baby. Let's go. And freedom it is. And you watch Secrets of the Sasquatch and Conscious Contact, Full Disclosure, and The Ghost of Gettysburg.
Yes, you've got quite a bit on there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just need to, have a playlist. I did see the trailer for the Gettysburg one. That one looks interesting. Kim would love that one because she's into all
You should watch it. That was such a fun one to make because we literally did it almost over a weekend because we stayed up all night camping out on these battlefield, haunted grounds did a seance, had a group of people. Had a medium there, had an author there. It was just a really, really unique and fun experience. Yeah.
Cool. We do have a question in chat. They would like to know, because they haven't seen this or anything yet, but they want to know who Sue Walker is.
Sure. Tyler,
Sue Walker, she's a clairvoyant, medical intuitive, and then also a telepath. You hear in the movie, she tells her story a little bit, but she's worked for 3-letter agencies on solving missing persons cases, right? So it's like, wow, dude, just a super kind of credible lady. And I always say, it was a pleasure sitting down with her in her home and her husband. And just to meet these people. And it's like, if she wasn't talking about extraterrestrials, she'd be your grandma, the nicest, most genuine, welcoming, just down to earth, normal person. So it was really, it's just really neat to Sue certainly believes she has had these experiences, and she just seems very genuine to me. And I think, man, if the government was spending 2 decades and $20 million studying remote viewing, in the 80s and 90s or whatever, it's like, okay, well, somebody thought there was something to this. The Russians were doing it. We were doing, so, and even if it's only to the point where it's like, okay, well, you're only guessing that coin flip, 55% of the time instead of 50. Well, dude, there's still something to that, right? That extra 5% is coming from somewhere. And so certainly I think it's possible that there's people that are maybe just more in tune to that. Right. And Sue seems to be one of those. I think Chris had mentioned, at Sandy of Wisdom would be a good spot to maybe start learning more about her. And then the website that they've run or have had forever is officialfirstcontact.com. And a neat little story with that is, if you go to officialfirstcontact.com, you go under, I believe it's the Documents tab, you'll see Telepathy 101 Primer. And it's this little guide. It might don't let the 278 pages or whatever scare you. It's basically slides. It's a picture with 2 words or 3 words on it in 1 sentence. You can readily just comprehend it and understand it real quick. You can go through it in 10 minutes. And I just had some cool experiences with that. It's a guide on how to exercise your brain and practice the art of telepathy. And I'll be darned if I didn't have 2 odd experiences, one with an extraterrestrial being physically popping up 6 feet in front of me. As a filmmaker, I can picture stuff up in my mind's eye, but this was just really odd that this it seemed like it was physically in front of me, this being, and an image afterwards. I'm like, man, where would that have come from? What movie, what pop culture, where did I see this video game? And it was dude, this was completely unique and foreign and original. It was really crazy. And the second one was water droplets that fell on me while I was trying this telepathy, and hairs on the back of my neck standing up, to the point where I'm just okay, I got to wrap this up and go run and look in the pool and make sure it's raining. Cause this is this is really odd. I opened my eyes and could see there was droplets on my arm, and then, finished it up and went over and checked. And it was not raining. I don't know. And I was under a tree, so I don't know if like leaves were just aspirating or perspiring on me or something crazy. But it was cool. I would encourage people that are into this type of thing to like go, check out the Telepathy 101 primer. I mean, it can't hurt, right? And maybe get a unique experience.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if either one of you have had any kind of contact or anything like that with an extraterrestrial or Sasquatch or anything like that.
We had some supernatural stuff when we were doing Ghosts of Gettysburg, and I had something from when I was a child, and I heard other things from like parents, friends that stuck with me. I wasn't there for that, but when I was a kid, living in basically the exact same house Tyler's in now, because he's where I grew up still on that same street. There's a room, my bedroom had like this little alcove that on the one side was a closet that was like half like waist high up. And you open the door and then there'd be like an access panel to the attic. Well, anyways, I was like 10 or whatever. So I put my bed in that little alcove in that little cubby area. Yeah. So this closet door was like right next to me. And I slept there for one night because all I did was hear voices the whole time coming from the closet.
Oh my gosh.
And it freaked me out so much. And like, I loved horror movies and stuff. So I'm sure my parents were like, oh, you're just, whatever. Yeah. But I moved it out of there and I never went back. And that's stuck with me since I was like 10 years old. And I haven't had anything since then, except the weird thing that happened with us on Ghosts of Gettysburg, where we were doing a bunch of interviews all day and everybody's kept asking if we were having trouble with our electronics because they're like, oh, you're going to have trouble with your electronics. That happens around this area. I was like, okay. No, we didn't have any at that time. And then we went to the Gettysburg battlefield and it was getting later and we needed coffee. Tyler has this coffee maker he hooks up in his car.
Oh, wow.
We plug it in and his car's running fine, but it won't work. It just doesn't work. So it was like, okay, all right, whatever. Let me get out this battery pack I had just gotten like a couple weeks ago because I had got this big $500 plus battery pack. Like it's made for camping, but I use it for like dance recitals and stuff where I need to plug in my cameras. But I had this thing and I used it once before. I turn it on, it lights up, immediately shuts off.
Oh wow!
I was like, really? So it was just this weird, like, I don't know. You could say it was coincidence, but it was weird that all day everybody kept saying you're gonna have electronic issues, and then like. When we needed the electronic device, it just didn't work. So it was just, I'm always going to remember that. I don't know if it was something supernatural or just coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I had like a couple more when I left the interview after interviewing Sue Walker. Interestingly enough, she's like, we've had like a lot of people report that the Ponte come visit them after they leave, especially like if they've stated that they'd be okay with it and comfortable with it. Oh. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'd be fine with it. She's like, oh, well, what about your son? I'm like, oh yeah, he'd be cool with it. It's fine. He's 8. And also I think like in June there, right around like when that first UAP task force report and stuff was coming out back in that June, July time, Fortnite introduced aliens into that season. So it was just, it was perfect. It was kind of like priming the masses, the younger generation, for potential disclosure. So it was an easier talk with it. But I get back from this trip and just a couple of odd circumstances where like, man, my son's medication like mysteriously disappeared like 3 times in a row, like 3 days in a row, or it was like morning, night, morning, or whatever it was. And it was just real weird. Like I couldn't really explain it. And then also it was, we were going to do this like physical therapy thing he has. And I like went to get his inhaler. We couldn't find it anywhere. We're doing it like looking all over the living room, doing like a grid search, like a grid walk. I'm like, bro, it's like nowhere. Yeah. He reaches down into like the recliner and like pulls out this slinky. This giant slinky, metal slinky, which like we had lost a year prior, and we had had our hands in that recliner 100, 200 times since then. Like it shows, we're like, what? And then like the inhaler like is over like out in the middle of the floor, like a few feet away. Like,
oh yeah.
Like shortly, like whatever, 5 seconds after, 10 seconds after we're messing with the slinky. I'm like, dude, what is going on? And then this like little plastic bag moved with like nobody in the room, no drafts or current, like no fan, nothing on. And it was kind of weird. My son was getting to the point where he was like, Dad, this is starting to freak me out a little bit. And I was like, look, bro, if they meant to do us any harm, like it'd be over, bro. We wouldn't even see it coming. These are like advanced beings. So I don't feel like it's anything like that. I'm like, yo, Ponty, if you're out there just teasing us and messing with us, yo, like make Dad the best filmmaker in the world. And dude, I'll be dipped in shit if we haven't gotten 3 documentaries picked up since stating that. And the 4th one Chris is editing right now. So I don't know. There could be something to it. They were interesting circumstances I can't explain.
A little bit more, or say something else that you want.
That's right. Yeah.
Talk to Chris, bro. I'm always swinging for the fences. Chris, I think after I shot and filmed like that Anjali press conference and I ran home, dude, DC's like 2.5 hour drives. That's when I had to do this. So I go down with like 3 cameras, 2 on a tripod, 1 on a gimbal. I end up live streaming to my like YouTube page, a TT Productions page, just because they were having issues with people there live streaming. I'm like, yep, I'll do that. So I'm running like 4 cameras. And dude, I knew the footage was so banging. I ran home, cut this trailer, and I think I got to check the timestamps, but I feel like I was like, Chris, we need to get this picked up for distribution. This is going to be banging. And then we went and got Sue Walker's. I'm like, bro, this is dynamite. Let's go. And then Clifford Mahooty, even that was just a beautiful thing. Like it was. And he passed away here a few months ago now at this point.
Wow.
So we were like the last people to interview him.
Oh, wow.
And just if you watch the movie or the documentary, knowing that he is like since passed and these are like kind of his last words, it's kind of eerie. And along with the things he talks about that are coming, these prophecies, I'm like, whoa, this is, it's really wild. And I can't, maybe coincidental or maybe it's, there's something more to it.
Yeah.
Wild.
He was very interesting too. I mean, he went all the way back to talk about it from the Egyptian times, which I have seen other shows where they have shown that because, they do have drawings of, these people with elongated
heads.
Yeah. And so don't they call them like hybrids or something or to that effect?
I don't know. I don't remember if we touched on that in Conscious Contact because that is a major major portion of something we've been
talking. People might have brought up. They may have brought up hybrid, but I think Star People was a common. Star People was a common term that. Clifford said that the Zunies had used, and it had been talked about and passed down, and maybe etched in petroglyphs and stuff. And then it was interesting how, he was a real go-getter, man. And in his lifetime, he was. I can't remember how old he was, but I would say like late 80s, early 90s or something, right? And so it was just amazing that he just like did so much. Like he went around and researched all these other Aboriginal tribes, right? And noticed that they had all mentioned Star People and these different prophecies and a lot of overlaps and stuff. So it was really cool to have his interview in there and get his perspective on this. Extraterrestrials and conscious contact full disclosure.
Now, do you guys, I know you're finishing up a documentary now, but are you guys going to kind of stay on the path of these paranormal type things? Or are you going to venture off into something different?
I mean, we enjoy the paranormal stuff. It's what interests us. If there was something that came along, we actually did do something outside the wheelhouse, about a drug rehabilitation program in Pennsylvania called Second Chance. It's not been released yet, but that was for somebody as well. But, whatever sparks our interest really is what we're looking into. But so far, it's mostly supernatural stuff. So, aliens, extraterrestrials. We did a Sasquatch thing. We did the Ghost of Gettysburg. We have another alien / government cover-up conspiracy type thing coming out with some really interesting individuals. But we have some cool ideas. We kind of just bounce ideas off of each other, and then when it really hits and it works. Because a lot of filmmaking stuff is just like about building that momentum, getting people involved and interested. If you keep that momentum going, you can complete the project. And that's kind of how me and Tyler work. So Tyler will sometimes throw me an idea, and I think he knows if I don't get too excited about it, it's not something we're going to stick with. Yeah. So it's got to be one of these things where we both were like, yep, there's something there. Mm-hmm. So like we started doing this something called 1 Minute Mysteries on our social media and YouTube and stuff. It's just like a minute or 2 minute long little video that kind of dives into something conspiratorial or supernatural or paranormal or whatever. So it's like we've talked about so many ideas over the past, but this was like, oh yeah, this is something we can do that's cool and fun and fits with the brand and stuff. So yeah, it's just a good working relationship we have. So Tyler, if you want to tell them about like some of the stuff we have planning to make.
Yeah, I was going to say, Chris, don't pull any punches like, well, I don't know, maybe we'll make more paranormal. It's like, well, bro, I'm pretty sure we're putting out a flyer for Ghost in the Graveyard, Pure Pandemonium. So, yep, you guys heard that again. In case my audio is not working, Ghost in the Graveyard, Pure Pandemonium. Which, as you may have guessed by the title, there happens to be a ghost town called Pandemonium in Pennsylvania. There happens to be a haunted cemetery at that ghost town, and we happen to be camping out overnight in that cemetery. And what we might, and I think we'll probably have a game of Ghost in the Graveyard, like back to everybody's childhood.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll probably freak out. It'll be crazy. And then we're going to interview like experiencers and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's a neat story there. Like somehow this cemetery is like there's nobody around because it's a ghost town, but like somebody's still like upkeep. There's like keeping up with the cemetery, like cleaning off headstones and stuff. So I don't know. We're gonna do that. So that's gonna be paranormal, and then we're doing in a past life. So we're gonna interview people that feel they've been reincarnated. And also like past life regression, like that hypnotherapy kind of thing. Chris and I might go through that as well.
I definitely want to go through that.
I believe
I just had a gal on about that last week, and so that's really cool. Yeah, she does.
That's what's up.
The hypnotherapy. Yep.
Cool. So we're going to interview that, and then there's this like I think professor or doctor or whatever that will interview and have like an expert opinion that ran studies on this. So that's really cool. And then what's the other one, Chris? Like a remote viewing one. Is that right?
In a remote viewing, yeah. Yeah,
which, but we had mentioned briefly earlier. But that's what that's kind of what's in the wheelhouse. That's what we'll be filming this summer. And then Chris will be editing them, early in the fall. And then it's like a 70-day turnaround. The name he did not mention for the doc that we're submitting here in a couple weeks is called In Plain Sight, the Intelligence Community and UFOs. Ooh. And that will be out the end of like this summer or early fall. Very cool. And that's going to be a sick one because, I interviewed retired CIA officer John Ramirez. If any of the listeners have seen the stuff he's been talking about with hybrids, and man, I just got a great interview out of him and some dope meetings he went to. And then I also flew and interviewed former Air Force Office of Special Investigations counterintelligence officer Richard Dodie, who has a unique story in counterintelligence and disinforming people who had UFOs. Like, it was just sick. That was a great interview. And then we have like a bunch of other cool people in that. Tom Carey, who's like a Roswell expert and author. He's just finished or published his 12th or about to release his 12th book on Roswell, interviewed like over 600 firsthand and secondhand witnesses to Roswell.
I learned so much about Roswell that I did not know just from like sitting down and listening to him talk. Cause he's like an encyclopedia of this whole thing. I mean, 12 books. How could you not be at that point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it was really cool to experience because, like, I mean, everybody knows, I think, the basic idea of Roswell, but this guy, he knows every detail that's been, out there. So that was really cool to experience.
That'll be an awesome one too. I'm excited for all of them. Yeah. I'm kind of excited for your cemetery one too, because I was going to ask you guys if you've actually ever done like an investigation, if you've ever been on an investigation.
That's the fun thing though about like the cemetery. Like we put out a call. Like if you want to come, you're more than welcome. Like, we put it out on social media. We look for people to come and do this with. We have the documentaries where we have like specific concept in mind, but like Ghosts of Gettysburg was something that had experiences that we captured, and that's kind of what we're going for with Ghosts in the Graveyard. It's something a little bit different than what we're doing. It's going to be like, like the overnight kind of thing. Hopefully we capture some stuff, but we put the call out. We want people to come and join us. So you guys get your butts here to PA and
July
be in that graveyard with us.
July 9th at 1 p.m.
There you go.
Till July 10th. It's Saturday, July 9th, 1 p.m. until Sunday, July 10th, I believe.
Yeah.
And anybody's welcome to come, and it'll be an awesome experience. And, dude, from like a personal side, dude, like I love the experiences. These are like, I'm out there. These are like once in a lifetime experiences, being on like the Gettysburg battlefield, right? Where these people, tens of thousands of people bled, died, had really horrible, abrupt endings, horrific endings to their lives, man. So if there's anything to like, a soul wandering the earth because it doesn't have peace, like, I feel like that might be the place, right? Like I feel like that has the best odds. And so Chris and I know, man, we have a lot of fun and try and be in the moment and just enjoy that. It's like a miracle that we can even do this, right? And we're just two knuckleheads, and hopefully our story inspires others to follow whatever fires them up. Because like they, a lot of this is us just moving our feet. Like instead of just going back and forth, hey, dude, what would be a good idea? Oh yeah, that would be cool. That would be like, no, we just do it. I just contact these people and they either say yes or no about an interview. And we go from there, fly out there. I got a backpack with 3 cameras, a drone and tripod, like just head down, chugging through the airport, dude. And I love every second of it, man. Getting a rental car, rolling up to these people's houses and having to, rearrange stuff and get like the cool shots and just get them in a really cool, like comfortable frame of mind that they can share these really personal experiences that they've had, because like, it's not easy to talk about some of those things, right? The way that it's been stigmatized for so many years. So I think like kudos to all the people that we interviewed for this and how well they did being themselves, sharing their story. I think that comes through. And I loved, being a part of that.
What got you guys into the supernatural?
What got us into it? Well, I mean, I had experiences when I was little. I mean, really little. I had a shadow figure, like a dark shadow figure that would stand next to my bed. But my mom would say that I would talk to this person. As I got older, another one showed up. And I've been trying to find out who is in my parents' house. They have a lot of activity over there. Can't really get a name, but we've had some unexplained things happen. So that's kind of what got us into it. But then we were also playing, Kim and I played on a slow pitch team. And so, we had been, having a little fun after our game. And a bunch of us are like, hey, have you heard of the Villisca Axe Murder House? And we're like, yeah. They're like, we should all go there and stay the night. I'm like, hey, why not? So we did. We stayed the night there. And we've been doing it ever since. And that's been about 8 years. So.
Wow, that's awesome.
We might have a documentary in the making. And that's how this stuff comes up. It just, Chris, dude, it manifests itself. That actually sounds, if you guys are already doing that, yo, Chris, well, we can talk afterwards.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
If people comment and get engagement saying, yup, we're trying to see a polished doc of some people spending the night. What was the name of this place?
Villisca Axe Murder House. I mean, we've been to a lot of places, but that was our very first actual investigation. It's actually a murder house.
It's a cold case.
It's a cold case. They never figured out who murdered the family. So, yeah, it was the Moores.
Moore family
and they had 2 neighbor girls staying the night, Ina and Lena. After church.
Yeah.
And they were all axed to death.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I have a friend out in Iowa, so I need to go out there at some point anyways.
There you go. That's a place to go. Have you heard of Malvern Manor? Check that place out. We actually had a doll fly off the dresser at us, and it shattered its legs. It was a porcelain doll. So yeah, that's a place to check out.
Yeah, that sounds interesting
cool.
too. Is that also in Iowa, I take it?
Yep,
It is.
it's about 30 minutes from the Villisca.
Yeah, it's about
there
30
you
minutes
go.
from Villisca. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Dude, I need some Iowa drone footage. You know that, bro. I've got a bunch of New Mexico and like this East Coast stuff, but I don't have any Iowa drone footage.
There you go.
And that sounds like and we like the hunted stuff and it's just crazy. Like, yeah, I don't know. Thanks for those tips. We might do this. Like, it was real wild when we did Secrets of the Sasquatch. I was out on this camping trip with like 2 individuals that are in the doc, and I had to get this one shot of like, I'm like, man, for the audience, the viewer, it'll look cool. You guys have this red flashlight panning out into the forest, and like, I need an image of something out in the forest that can't like looking back at this, flashlight looking out at. But dude, I almost crapped my pants out there by myself in the woods, pitch black. I'm like, all right, guys, like, just start walking. All right. I'm just like, oh, dude, something could just pull me right out of here. Nobody would ever know. I'm like 50 or 30 yards away from them. It was madness. But
my gosh,
that adrenaline rush, that adventure,
yeah,
you can't replace it. It's like so.
You can't.
It's fun. It's fun. I love it.
It is.
I love it. And we hope that stuff kind of comes through in these documentaries.
Yeah. I'm super excited for this stuff. And like I said, we'll have to check out the Gettysburg one because I know Kim's really into that. She likes all the war history and all that jazz. So we got to check that one out. That's someplace we've wanted to go, investigate, go out there and kind of check it out. But haven't made it that far. Haven't made it out of Iowa too much. So
that's all right. We'll come to you. Dockside Media will come to Iowa. Hey, if we're trying to be the best in this side of the Milky Way, I think we can get to Iowa. That's cool. That's not too far.
Yeah, there you go. You got it. Now, where can people find you guys to see what you're up to? You said you have a YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, we got a bunch of social media. So we're on Facebook, Dockside Media. We're on Twitter, Dockside Media, YouTube as well, and then TikTok. And we release a lot of content on those things. We have the 1-minute mysteries, like I said. So if you're into just like, hey, what's an interesting topic that we kind of briefly go over, sort of in our documentary style, check us out, follow us on there. But then if you do follow us, you can see when we're posting about like doing this Ghost in the Graveyard thing. And if you're around and you're interested, you could probably join us. So definitely follow us, Dockside Media. You can get in touch with us, docksidemedia.com. There's a contact form where you can fill it out. If you have an interesting story, you have something you want to tell us, please do. We'd love to hear from you. And then, of course, go check out any number of our movies. Right now we have Conscious Contact Full Disclosure, which is available pretty much everywhere. Amazon, iTunes, Google, YouTube, PlayStation, Microsoft platforms, and Vudu as well. So pretty much anywhere you look, you should be able to find it. And if you watch it, please leave a review so we know what you guys think. Even if you didn't like it, if something didn't work, please let us know. Like, we just want to hear what people think about this stuff and how our vision's getting across. And then check out Ghosts of Gettysburg, also out, same places, available now if you're more into the ghost stuff. We have Secrets of the Sasquatch, which is coming out July 5th.
Don't take us back to January.
Not January. Which is a super fun. Like, we've done these. We're, like I said, I'm working on my 4th one, but it's cool to see the evolution of things we learn along the way, and some like the production value steps up in a lot of ways and stuff. And we're like just telling these stories in more compelling and interesting ways, I think. So that's what's cool to me. But yeah, look for that. And then I am currently editing In Plain Sight, The Intelligence Community and UFOs, which I'm about halfway done with. Should have it probably done in the next few weeks, and hopefully it'll be out for worldwide, late summer, early fall is what I would guess.
Oh, very cool. Some more to look forward to. I'm super excited about that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to have Kim hasn't got to watch the full contact. I watched it while I was waiting for my daughter for her softball practice. So I tried.
As you do. I hear you. I wait for so many damn dance classes. You have no idea.
Yep. It's a great way to spend your time.
It is. It absolutely is. It's like, what better thing to do? So, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for being on. Want to give props to everybody who was in chat. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who's not in chat but listening. We appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure to check out Tyler and Chris at Dockside Media. We'll post all this on our social media as well, so that way you guys can check out all their documentaries, see what they're up to. If you want to get into contact with them, please do so. Check it all out. Awesome stuff. Can't wait to see more. Next week, we have Dr. Christopher Macklin on. He is founder of Global Enlightenment Project. So he's going to be talking about, he's a global messenger, intuitive. He is a paranormal conduit, and he'll be talking about remote viewing as well. So check that out. And thanks, guys, once again for being on. It was awesome. We didn't even get through everything, but it was still pretty cool, and I can't wait.
Oh, I'm sorry, I talked too much.
We'll come back anytime. Anytime.
Yeah. You guys will be back on.
There you go.
Good point. Allison, Kim, you guys rock. Love what you're doing. Thank you so much for having us on. Love the energy.
If you're a listener, you should be, liking, subscribing, leaving reviews on iTunes for these guys. That's how you show your support, right?
If you know what's good for you.
Yeah. Thanks for the plug for us, guys. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
You guys rock. No, this was so much fun.